Hi, everyone. I am Mary Kate Luke. I'm the marketing specialist here at Hasmark Publishing International, and I am joined today by my co-host, Jen Gibson. She is the Director of Publishing and Marketing, and we are here to chat today with wonderful, lovely author Linda Steele. She has written a book called Nerves of Steel, and we're so excited to be chatting about it today. So, Linda, I love the title of this book. I think it is so profound, and I just love it. I think it says so much about what the book is about, which we're going to chat about. But can you talk to us a little bit more about what Nerves of Steel means to you?
Sure. You know, I when I wrote the book, I take stories from back in my childhood, and I had some childhood trauma to overcome. And it turns out I brought my trauma into my adult relationships, which consequently, I found myself in some bad relationships along the way. Breaking away from those relationships takes a lot of nerve, a lot of courage, and as I was writing, I realized all that, and that's how I came up with the name of the book, Nerves of Steel.
This story is your deeply personal journey. How did you know it was the right time to share it with the world?
You know, I have adult children now. I have a lot of family members, friends, and hundreds of clients that take my advice on a daily basis. And it was just about the time where a lot of these people in my life were coming up to the same obstacles that I found myself in my past. And so I, over time, would give them advice and so forth. And I thought this might be a really good time to get all this down on paper for not just my friends, family, children, clients, but for everyone in the world. I just felt like those closest to me were really benefiting from how I handled my situations. And why not get it out to more people? If I can help it, that would feel really good.
Absolutely. And with such a personal story, it is always hard to know sort of when the time is right. But I think that yours is a special one because we've talked about it before, but it's something that I think everyone from every walk of life can relate to in one way or another, which is what makes it so special.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, did you have any roadblocks that you sort of faced maybe with the writing process? And if so, how did you overcome those?
I did because my brain chose to forget some of the things that went on even in my adult life. And so when I started writing, I went back into these dark places where I found myself long before. And during those times, I'd already broken out of those places. So to find myself back in them was unusual. And so when I would go through like sit down and writing phase, I would find that it would take me, a day or so to break out of this mental state that it put me in. And then if I was going to sit down again to write, I would actually start to think, do I have the next day or so that I can give to this? Because it's going to take me that long to, you know, break out of that state of mind. And so I would have to say that was the biggest roadblock for me, was knowing where it brought me and knowing how long it took me to break out of it. And I didn't want to go back there. So that was probably my biggest roadblock.
You have overcome many adversities in your life, and this story is a true testament to that. What do you hope readers will take away from your book?
I would have to say, there are a couple different things, and not one is more important than the other. But I would like for readers to understand that there are going to be obstacles in your life throughout your life, and you can reinvent yourself as many times as you need to. It's not going to be easy, but it's possible. I think the next lesson that I'd like for them to take away from it is that any kind of trauma you have in your life, whether it date back to your childhood or whether it be in your adulthood, it does not have to define your entire life. It doesn't have to. You can find a way to work alongside it. It doesn't have to hold you back. You get to be in charge of that. So I would like for readers to understand that there's a way to take control of situations that they're in. And again, it's not easy, but there is a way to do it. And one of the ways that I found easiest to control and to get in, be in charge of the situations that I was in was when I changed my lifestyle and I started working out and I started eating clean. It's amazing what you can do when you are thinking with a clear head. And one of the ways that you do that is to get your body into a balance. And that's what I did. I started working out. I started eating clean. And everything just kind of fell into place during that time. One more thing that I wanted to mention that I'm hoping readers take away is there are bad relationships out there. People feel stuck in them. And some people feel like they'll never get out of it. There is a way out. It's scary, but there's a way out. You just have to make a plan, stick to it.
Absolutely. That's such an important sentiment for so many people out there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this book, it is a memoir. Obviously, it's deeply personal about your life. But what would you say sets it apart from maybe other personal memoir stories?
That's a good question. Memoirs are about people's lives. So there are not going to be two alike. Everyone's life is different in some way or another.
Why was it important for you to share your story?
I found it important that I start to understand certain things about myself, why I behaved the way I did, why I kept finding myself in the same types of relationships that I did. But what I found more important was that other people maybe try to understand why I am how I am. I feel like people out there, readers out there, can draw parallels to my life, and it might make them start taking a look within themselves. And so that's what I'm hoping happens when you read this book. I'm hoping that readers can do that they can start to take a look at my situation, how I handled it, why I am the way I am, because everything starts to make sense if you go back and if you read the beginning of the book. And a lot of times when you can do that, when you can take that information, you can't help but self-associate with some things that you read. And I think that it will make people take a look within, take a look at the relationships that they find themselves in, and start to even understand why people in their lives are the way they are. And that's a point in time where they decide if they want to do some self-help, and if their partners want to do the same, to try to make things work or not.
I think that's one of the greatest things too about a relationship between being an author and being a reader is getting to see people reading your story and having it resonate with them and being able to sort of find solace in even the things that you've dealt with, but you've overcome, and relating that to their own life and taking those steps to getting to a better place, which is so important.
Yes, I agree.
Now, when does your book, Nerves of Steele, launch, and where can people get a hold of a copy?
It launches January 17th, 2023, and it's going to be available on Amazon. Right now, it is available as a pre-order on my website, which is nervesofsteele.net.
Excellent. And where can people find you and learn more about you online?
I have a couple websites, lindasteelewellness.com, nervesofsteele.net. On YouTube, I am Linda Steele Wellness 1, the number 1. On Instagram, I am Linda Steele Fitbod. On Twitter, Steele Linda 2022. And on Facebook and LinkedIn, you can find me by my name, Linda Steele, with an E at the end.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting with us today, Linda. We are so excited for your book to launch and to get into the hands of readers everywhere. So thank you. Thank you for joining us and having a wonderful conversation, chatting more about your book.
Thank you so much for having me.